deny some of what TSM comp wants to do, and that is siege. Anytime you have Caitlyn, you're looking towards the siege, you're looking to be able to take down towers. Ziggs has
And we're on the rift for the first time in the summer playoffs, Azale. TSM versus Golden Guardians, the 4th versus 5th seed. Certainly the closest round 1 playoff match we have, and a fun draft. You know, a good stable draft for both teams here to set the tone, because nobody wants to mess up to kick off their playoff best of 5.
Yeah, you really don't, and that's why I think it's always so interesting to see what kind of energy teams come out with in the first game. You know, this is something where sometimes, you know, no one wants to be that person to screw up, so they're actually playing so defensively, and if you draft something that, you know, you have to play aggressive and you have to take dragons, you have to do these things, that can be a lose condition, right? That can be what's actually costing you the game. So you want to see teams play towards what they have drafted, play towards their strengths, not shy away from conflict just because they are here in playoffs.
Well, we'll see where the teams are setting up. It is just everyone fanning out, no one wanting to go for any sort of early level 1 aggression. Speaker will be starting on the red side of the jungle, and it will be the same story for Closer. But Closer is not going to get any help, and looks like Treats maybe, nope, just going to leave Speaker alone there on the red buff as he walks down to the bottom lane with Double Lift, which I think is where potentially some of Golden Guardian's edge can come from in the early game. FBI has been excellent in lane alongside Huhi. Double Lift and Treats obviously drafting a very strong lane here as well, and they are no slouches when it comes to 2v2, but if there's like an obvious place to look at here for this series, it does start for Golden Guardians, I think, in the bottom lane.
Yeah, I think that Golden Guardians is actually heavily advantaged in this 2v2. FBI has been a great laner. I think that a lot of the credit is also deserved by Huhi, who has been fantastic. I do think it's very easy to get the push here with Ashe and Morgana. You drop the puddle on all 6 minions as they group up, and you have Volley that's AoE as well. It's so easy to actually proc the lethal tempo off of a Volley and then have the additional attack speed to keep that push going. Plus, as you see, Double Lift is going to have to play the cleanse tax, right? Because this is Ashe Arrow at 6. This is Morgana Binding. If either of those hit you, you are probably dead. That means that not only does Golden Guardians essentially get automatic push in this 2v2, they also get TP advantage because FBI doesn't have to play for that. So they're going to likely try to lock TSM under their turret here at some point, get a really preferential base with the TP, keep up the pressure, take tower plates. That is their goal. And TSM has kind of locked themselves into this losing lane by going for this Morgana after, or rather going for the Thresh after Morgana was already picked. And you can already see the value of Hawkshot here as Spica was actually seen over on the Gromp, which allows Closer to go in for the invade here, and he will be able to get the big chicken and get out of there no problem. So, you know, there alone, you see some of that advantage that Ashe brings into a jungle matchup.
Closer just popping the Penguin and walking out of the jungle. Spica will go ahead and clear out the rest of the camp. But Closer actually maybe going to wait here because I think Spica wants this crab. In fact, both junglers are going to want it, so they are going to meet in the river.
But if this goes down towards bot lane, then they won't actually be able to contest this on TSM side, right? Bjergsen is moving over, so is Ziggs, but now Huhi can move up. I don't think Spica really has any chance to get that, so honestly I would have preferred to just see him go straight up towards the top side, take that scuttle, maybe try to get some counter jungling done of his own, take a chicken back. I do think that when you have already seeded push on that bottom side, it's so unlikely for you to be able to win a scrap around that bottom scuttle, and this has just put himself behind a couple seconds, honestly.
And Spica, though, instead going to take the left crab as you recommended, maybe just a little later than he would have liked. Top lane is going well early for Broken Blade, though, which is something we can check in on now. But Haunter's evened out the lane after Broken Blade got to level 1 going. Nice taunt, though. Ooh, he's going to miss as well. Yeah, really well played by Broken Blade.
Yeah, that was clean. And this is something where you can win early, you know, if you're able to get good, clean trades. Because one of the things that is nice with the parry zone from Shen is, you know, you need the multiple successive hits from Mordekaiser to actually proc the passive, right? So if you can actually deny those, they're going to go for the taunt flash, and they got him!
Flash taunt kick, first blood, see you later, Haunter! That goes to Broken Blade as the tower's going to hit him one last time, but it's not enough for the traders. Closer, he's going to try and do just that with the distance, but Broken Blade and Speaker already way too far away.
And the wave is even pushing away from Haunter. That is so good for TSM. That is absolutely perfect. And this was actually the 3rd straight taunt. He hit 2 in a row. We already saw that last trade on screen. Taunt flash, Haunter cannot react. Notice how Spica knows Broken Blade would take him out, so he's going to have to flash before the Q. That is why there was the delayed reactivation on that Q. Broken Blade will be able to TP back in. collect this nice juicy wave here, has the preferential buy. You know, Haunter just got refillable and a ruby crystal. Not only did Broken Blade get that, he got 2 additional longswords because he based with more farm and the first blood, so the lane is going to be looking really nice for him. And it's also key that they actually got into that top lane this early, because pre-6 is really the only time you could look for that. Post-6, it's so easy for Mordekaiser to just ult the jungler, but here is the play down on bot side. Spica's got to get out, because Closer could flash for this.
Ooh, that binding almost hit Spica, but he's just going to be able to get out of there. Good presence of mind from Golden Guardians to not freak out in the bottom lane, seeing Spica first. They knew Closer was there. No need to burn any summoners or do anything other than continue pushing the lane and building up your advantage. Just sitting at about a wave of CS right now. Doublelift is going to be forced to stay to collect this wave so he doesn't fall too far behind. But
yeah,
as you mentioned, that top lane is already opening up for TSM. In fact, Broken Blade has level 6 right now, so potentially if they do want to contest for maybe this Drake, although I don't think they will, Broken Blade can join the fights in an instant.
He definitely can, so you know, it will be hard to dive or to go anything, something like that. But right now, I don't think it's worth them trying to contest, and your bottom lane is pretty locked in there. Doublelift is going to take the recall now. This is going to mean he will lose a full wave, but he doesn't really have any choice, right? He's getting poked out, and he's just trying to make the call on when it's best to actually base. You know, this lane, as I said, very heavily favored towards Golden Guardians. You know, they also went for Spell Thieves and Comet, which is kind of indexing more towards the laning phase there. Who are you going to have the additional mana regen that got buffed a couple patches ago now on Spell Thieves and Comet for that guaranteed poke with your puddle. But, you know, Doublelift not that far behind. So this was a pretty good base timing. Honestly, you know, could have gone a lot worse for them. He gets his BF. He's down 8 CS. That's okay. And now, because he actually found this timing, he's not losing plates on the base, because FBI hadn't actually gone back to base yet. So FBI kind of missed a window to really punish with his teleport. And because they didn't actually find a wave to actually push out earlier and TP back immediately to try to punish for plates, they really didn't get much out of the teleport advantage. So I've got to give a lot of credit to TSM's bottom lane here for navigating this, only being down, you know, about 1 wave with teleport expended. And they only lost 1 plate. I think they should be really, really happy with how they performed. I think this is a really strong laning performance here from Doublelift and Treats.
Yeah, Doublelift kind of knows, even in a bad matchup, sometimes has to give it up. This is a little too far forward, though. Binding is not going to hit. FBI had the arrow ready, though, so Doublelift certainly has to be careful with Treats on the roam towards mid. We also saw Spica steal away the red buff, which is kind of an extension of the advantage that Broken Blade is building now in top lane.
I think we would have seen Huhi flash for that if they knew where Treats was. But, you know, if Treats is right behind them with the Lantern, then obviously that's not going to work out. You can just cleanse Lantern. But, you know, we've seen Huhi make a lot of aggressive plays like that. He's very willing to trade flash for flash to try to look aggressive here. They have Bjergsen pushed in on the tower. They had Mordekaiser push on the top, so it's an easy invade for that blue buff. Well done by Golden Guardians, trying to take away resources where they can. And Ziggs with blue buff is so annoying to lane against, because this guy is just going to spam out spells constantly, and if they can actually defend and claim that second blue buff for Damonte as well, that will put Bjergsen at a bit of a deficit. Bjergsen has gone less towards the laning item. You know, he has skipped Lost Chapter entirely. It's been kind of this evolution for Azir, where Azir's early on in the split were going full Ludens, then they were just going Lost Chapter and sitting on that, then they just skipped Lost Chapter entirely and went towards, you know, like double Dorans or Darksteel or something, and that's what Bjergsen is looking at here. Comet is more towards the laning than something like Lethal Tempo, but he's rushing straight towards Nashers to be ready for the team fight.
Yeah, kind of knows that, you know, this lane is doing exactly what we've seen on screen, which is just farming back and forth. Although blue buff for Damonte is going to help in that department. Bottom lane, though, Spica is here once again. Closer is on this side of the map, but gives Doublelift and Treats room to push out the lane without fear of being ganked. FBI is still up about 12 CS, so 2 waves or so, which is nice to see. But as you said, I think it could have been a lot worse. So Doublelift and Treats just finding to kind of float the lane with this disadvantage, and, you know, just hope it doesn't get any worse.
Yep, and they're going to be depending on the fact that they think, you know, Thresh will be very useful come team fight time, right? And we'll see what Treats can get done there. Obviously, the box can be pretty annoying for the melee champions over on Golden Guardians. And, you know, we'll see if he can find any hooks or anything like that. The Merc Trud's Rush, I think, makes a lot of sense for Treats. If, you know, he doesn't play cleanse, so if you get caught by an arrow or a binding, it can be very problematic for the Thresh. and we'll see if anyone else is going to be forced into a QSS or a Banshees or anything like that. I do think it would make sense for Bjergsen to eventually go into that Banshees, obviously not as a first item. When you're against Mordekaiser, Ziggs, there's a lot of AP damage there, plus things like Arrow and Binding are so threatening. I do think it's something that can get a tremendous amount of value this game.
Well, this is curious because Golden Guardians have actually moved their bottom lane to the top half of the map. I'm almost surprised this didn't happen earlier because Herald is already so valuable, and even more so when you have a Ziggs in the mid lane. So Golden Guardians are going to make a play for this objective, assuming that it basically gets a tower if they can get the Herald down and have the Satchel in place. But they didn't go for it.
Yeah, I think they actually misread. So I think that they saw, Treats up there, and they assumed Doublelift was going to be there too, and that they were trying to actually match the Roman contest, not necessarily go for it themselves. In this case, Doublelift actually did stay bottom lane, so FBI was forced to run back down there. Otherwise, he would have been losing plates and actually falling behind in farm. So it will be TSM, I think, that kind of gets the best of that little move, a little bit of free farming time there for Doublelift. And now, because they see FBI down on that bottom side, Doublelift gets first move. They're starting this up, but there's an arrow coming cross map here. We'll see if it connects with anyone.
Ooh, close hookshot though does reveal, so they do have vision here, but the objective I don't think is close enough for Closer to try and take, so Speaker will smite that away, and rough stuff to lose that first Herald. Very valuable for what Golden Guardians wanted to do, but instead it goes into the hands of TSM.
Yeah, well done here by TSM to be able to grab that Herald for themselves. FBI is extending the farm lead, so has done well with that. When we checked in at that TP time, it was like a little bit over a wave. It is extending from there. Doublelift will have some farm to actually pick up here, but Golden Guardians potentially going to be starting up this dragon, looking towards that. If they could grab this second dragon quickly here, that is going to be very nice to threaten that snowball towards what would be an eventual soul. Either it will be Cloud or Ocean. Ocean obviously is kind of that doomsday one that people are most worried about. But TSM is moving over here. They want to try to contest. I just think that they're too slow, probably.
Yeah, Rifto popped as well. Dragon goes,
the
Speaker steals it! Golden Guardians are going to try and win the team fight on the end of it. Treat so forced to flash away, but Broken Blade's here already. It is going to be the Ocean Soul, and FBI is going to go down as Broken Blade. He's able to find that kill, and Haunts are way too late to this one, buddy, as TSM get the Drake and the team fight win.
They're going to get the tower as well. That is massive for TSM. This is just going to blow Golden Guardians right out of the water here. Should be able to get all 5 plates off that. They got the Smite Steal. They got everything. I didn't think that Bjergsen was going to be able to arrive in time to really have an impact on that fight, as he was TPing down to the bottom lane and the dragon was already fairly low. But when Spica lands that smite, Broken Blade coming through with the Stand United, another taunt flash landed from him. He has been on point this game with the Shen, catching FBI, who was an easy kill after that. Haunter at least does get down here and defends the tower, so it doesn't fully go down, but it is incredibly low, and they're now moving their Caitlyn up towards top lane to try to continue picking up some more tower plates.
Yeah, up about 1,500 gold for TSM, which is very nice given how some of the early lanes were looking. Also nice for Broken Blade just to back up between his 2 towers, because doesn't want to get put in the Shadow Realm when he's trying to teleport to save his friends. So just really well played in general in the lane for Broken Blade in that team fight, and just good awareness to not do the dumb thing and try and teleport in front of a Mordekaiser. So well played for TSM to pick up all 3 objectives basically in that little exchange, and now they're going to move back around and continue pressure towards topside like you said.
Yep, and I mean, it's great utilization of that Shen Stand United. You want to be proactive when you are playing with a Shen. The more plays you can look for, generally, the better, because you're essentially having a 2-to-1 global advantage, right? If you can force Haunter's TP with your TP, or force that with the Stand United, and then have TP advantage, then you get free objectives on the other side of the map. But if you play it too slowly, if you're always doing it defensively or reactively, you may not get an edge from that extra global. You might be doing it too slow, so he always has his teleport to match. So you want to see TSM continue to be proactive here. They are having match teleports right now, so as soon as that Stand United is up, TSM will have priority on the opposite side of the map.
Herald is up in a couple of minutes, I think, but TSM are just continuing to push waves and roam in. Bjergsen looking for Demonte. That's a very good ace in the hole after the Emperor's Divided. Demonte is going to go down here as Speaker, the one to pick up kill credit.
That was really clean there from TSM. They knew Demonte had no flash from that dragon fight, so nothing really going on for him there. Cannot get out. TSM doesn't overcommit any sort of resources. No kick out of Spica, no flashes coming through. Ace in the hole, sliding in, shuffling in Demonte, grabbing an easy kill on the Ziggs. And TSM is looking so clean in the early minutes here, navigating, all of these potential pitfalls very, very well, laning incredibly well in that 2v2, killing off the Mordekaiser pre-6. Broken Blade has been so clean in this game, and Bjergsen's winning his matchup. He's in the comfort zone now with the Nashers completed. TSM really has everything going their way.
Yeah, I mean, if you look at their 3 lanes, they have or had farm deficits in all 3 of them. As Speaker going for the solo kill here, close to the haymaker. That's a step too far, but Speaker still alive for now. Damonte looking for it, but no ulti to try and find the snipe, so Speaker going to walk out safely.
But look at the level advantage. This Lee Sin is 2 levels up right now. I'm certain Closer has to be close to 8, so he'll probably, be only more like a level and a bit down, but that's still pretty significant there as the Lee Sin. Speaker having a solid game so far, and he had been receiving some criticism for his smites. I think his play around dragons sometimes is where maybe nerves are getting the best of him. We have seen a couple weeks back where he used his smite on an enemy champion that didn't have it for the dragon. We've seen him get out smited a couple times, like in that TL game. But here, he comes out firing already, landing the smite steal against Closer, and has been looking very, very good on the Lee Sin in the first 15 minutes.
Yeah, just nice and clean gameplay across the board for TSM as Damonte is going to get himself yet another blue buff. Have not seen the Ziggs been able to really start the siege, unfortunately for him. Level 11 now though, so charging up on passive, charging up on satchel levels, also in constant fear of getting killed again because Bjergsen shuffles look so good, but his flash is coming back off and Golden Guardian starting to group back around the center of the map because it is time to play for this first Ocean Dragon in 30 seconds.
Looks like TSM are going to be able to grab this bottom tower potentially. They don't know where everyone is, so they are just going to move over into the river, not take that down. Could have had it, but obviously they didn't have the vision to know exactly where Golden Guardians are. Golden Guardians, though, now committing to this mid lane push. They're trying to shove here. TSM has to respond to this before moving to the Dragon. Otherwise, they will just lose their tower so incredibly fast against that composition that Golden Guardians has. So by getting that push, they've actually now shoved TSM out of the river. Broken Blade is going to stay top and look to get tower damage down. He does have a stand united, so TSM can look to slow play this. And because they stole the last dragon, it's honestly not the end of the world if they do give up one dragon here. This would not put them at soul point. And for now, it looks like they're just trying to push all 3 lanes. And I think they're just going to have Spica try to steal instead of committing to the fight.
Yeah, thankfully they wait for the Q to wear off, so Lee Sin can't jump in, and Haunter's going to go ahead and get the last hit on the Dragon to give Golden Guardian the first lead in that objective. Like you said, though, it does come at a cost. Broken Blade is smashing down the top lane tower, the bottom lane tower is extremely low, and Doublelift is in fact going to finish it off. So despite the Drakes looking good, despite Golden Guardians having a good plan, that gold lead is all TSM, and again, they've had deficits in all 3 of their lanes at some point, and it just doesn't seem to matter right now.
And I think it's so interesting because this just demonstrates how game-changing a smite skill could be. Because I can guarantee you that TSM wouldn't be giving that up if Closer was the one who actually smited the previous dragon. Because you're not willing to put someone at soul point this early on in the game. But because of one ability being used better by your opponents, essentially, because of that smite steal from Spica, TSM aren't forced to actually challenge in what would have been potentially a losing position by that dragon, because they had actually lost control over mid lane. It was Golden Guardians who were the ones who were over there first, and if they had been forced to funnel in, they could have actually died at that dragon and lost it anyway. Instead, because of that one smite steal, they actually get to take 2 towers, they get to circumvent even fighting for that dragon, and it just shows how big of a difference these little plays can really have in the entire game.
All right, welcome back. We do have a pause for a disconnect. So, of course, once that resolved, we'll get ourselves back into the game. But 3,000 gold up for TSM, about 18 minutes through this game. I would say going as expected. Certainly not the way Golden Guardians wanted. I think they set themselves up well, and then TSM just played very well together as a team, especially with Broken Blade getting things going in the top lane. But it's not like the game is out of reach either. Like 3,000 gold is very much a gold lead that you can still make up for. And Golden Guardians have shown that even though they are very reliant on getting advantages in the early game, they are a team that has gotten better at playing the mid and the late game as well.
I think they have, that is something that they have been improving at, but I would still say that is their biggest weakness, and they are one of the strongest early game teams in the entire league. So, Golden Guardians, I think, are going to be very concerned by where the game is currently. It is still within reach, fully to your point, right? One big team fight win, you take a Baron, or you get another Dragon, and you're at soul point all of a sudden, then you can really kind of start to see the finish line. You can start to see those win conditions coming through. But for now, I think TSM, this is almost a dream scenario given the draft draft and given what you're expecting the state of the game to be at this, a way that they have won so many championships, with the teams that they have played on, right? Just count on Doublelift, count on Bjergsen to be able to team fight incredibly well. That is a pretty damn reliable strategy,
yes, for sure.
let's be
and
honest.
I think playoff experience is a huge part about how this all works out. As you said, Golden Guardians have never won a best of 5 in playoffs, and Mark's very impressive Doublelift stat was like he hasn't lost a best of 5 in 4 years, which is quite a long time for a player that's played in literally every split of the LCS and almost every playoff. Spring 17 Doublelift, we did indeed miss you, but I mean, yes. With the experience that TSM have, I think it's just, and the mode that this game is currently in, it just feels like this is a team that, at least for the first game, is cruising like you mentioned. Although, there is maybe some ways we can look for TSM to get a little bit nervous later in the series.
Exactly. They're obviously, even within this game, we'll see if they are going to be able to be pushed, to be punished here at all. TSM do have the Rift Herald, though. They're going to be dropping that mid lane, trying to look to knock down this tower here. Doublelift treats Bjergsen, all moving over towards mid lane. And remember, Broken Blade does have the Stand United available, so this should be an easy mid lane turret. They will grab that. And it's also worth noting that Broken Blade is actually playing Ultimate Hunter here. So anytime he is involved in kills, he is going to be reducing the cooldown on his ultimate, which is actually quite nice. He did get, kills on 2 different people, so he already is sitting at 2 stacks. We'll see if he wants to build up any CDR later on. But I do think that this is, looking pretty good for TSM thus far. And as Golden Guardians try to regain control here around the mid lane, it is going to get more difficult for them if they have to actually send out the Ziggs to the side lanes, because they just lost the mid lane turret. They've already lost the bot and top outer towers, and Ziggs really does want to have that kind of bastion of safety to rely on, to be able to sit back, wave clear comfortably there. Azir is going to have the advantage more in those side lanes, can actually look to punish Demonte more heavily if he's out there, and it's also so much easier than look for a dive onto him with Stand United, or to have Spica flanking him and really kind of looking to take him down. Huhi now, though, moving down here to try to protect Demonte, trying to allow him to push it in, and going to be looking to attack Bjergsen, who is down here on this bottom side, being shadowed by Broken Blade for now. You sound good to me. True. Get it. Oh, I'm going to take over again because I guess you guys cannot hear Pastry. But the Ash Arrow does come in. Doublelift having to cleanse there will be pushed back pretty heavily, but that is Ash Arrow down, Ziggs ultimate down as well, and that means that Golden Guardians just lost a lot of their team fight power here prior to the dragon spawning. Those cooldowns will not be up, but they are looking to continue this push here. 4 members grouped up, and remember, Ziggs did get those big buffs with the passive, so they can get a lot of damage down on this tower. The tower down to about half. Broken Blade will stay up on that top side because he does have Stand United available, but we'll see, can TSM actually get purchased in this team fight? Because last Dragon fight, they were pushed out in mid lane and did actually not have the opportunity. As this, I think, is just jumping out. I think that is actually where they DC'd, so that was the end of the previously recorded footage. I know that looked really weird. We will now be then jumping into the stream of the actually Chrono Breaked game.
Yep.
So that is something that actually happened in the past. Obviously, there is a delay for competitive integrity in these games, so that is why that looked really strange. We have hopped out of game right now, and then we're going to be jumping back in, and it should be all good to go. Should be synced up with what is actually currently happening.
And hopefully you're all synced up with me as well. I know you can hear me as well. I believe the stream can hear me as well. But, of course, we'll let you know. You'll let us know if that is not the case. Regardless, again, not too much happening in there. Again, a little confusing with the Chrono Breaking game, but we did at least get to see what was happening, and we should be able to jump back into the game as soon as that is ready. So it does seem like we're setting up for this mid-game. Again, something that is very critical to be watching between these two teams is, how they execute from this point. I think Golden Guardians obviously wanted to set up for this next Drake and make sure they can get it and get themselves to threaten that soul point. But TSM have done a pretty good job so far of controlling the side lanes using Broken Blade Shen and just making sure that things don't get too out of hand, which I think has generally been the where things have gone wrong for these teams, is when they get a bit sloppy, things start to go downhill, and then they're kind of playing catch up. But it's never a spot you want to be in, especially if you've snowballed the game to such a clean point already in the mid game.
Yeah, so we'll see how they're going to be able to prepare. I do think this Dragon Fight is going to be incredibly important. The fact that it's actually Ocean Soul that they're going to be working towards here. So that Dragon is up. We can see Shen has moved down. This is now post-Chrono Break. The trap line set up there for TSM, and they're looking to just potentially rush this down. We'll see if it's going to come down to the smite.
Oh, Closer actually getting in there. The Dragon's open. Who gets it? It is FBI with the steal. And now Haunts in the backline, but Closer's low. He's got the Haymaker charging up, and here comes Broken Blade. Who he going to block the ace in the hole? Pulls the Haymaker. Broken Blade, he does miss it, but he gets the sword pulled through as the arrow is going to go down onto trees. Haunts of those slaves double lift as he dives the backline, and it's an absolute mess. But Golden Guardians, they get out with the Drake. They get a couple kills. And that was chaotic as we get ourselves back into the game for realsies.
And that should be their third dragon. So the graphic hasn't actually updated yet, at the top, but that should be Golden Guardian's third dragon now. So putting them at soul point. Neither jungler used their smite on that. The fight had actually broken out, and it was FBI who did take that down. And I've got to say, I think that Broken Blade really actually misplayed. When he was coming in on that flank, I thought he had the opportunity to just go for a straight-up taunt through multiple people. Maybe he was worried about it getting flashed, but instead he went for the taunt and flash. He didn't miss that. He did get the kill eventually on Closer, but that felt like a situation where potentially you could get a multi-man taunt, kill off those people, and then punish with a Baron take here. So let's watch this one more time. As we know, Closer did look for the engage here, flying on in. Spica just wasn't actually back in time. He had the Q on the dragon there. He did get ulted. I'm not sure. I guess he didn't want to take the Q in because he was worried about getting in range of Haunter, so that is why he wasn't able to actually land that smite. So well played there by Haunter. And then this is that flank I was talking about from Broken Blade. I did feel like there was an opportunity to go for a taunt on that 3-man clump right there instead of actually chasing the low HP jungler, because if you kill off some of those members, you could potentially punish with a Baron take, and instead they're not able to get that. They do go +1 as far as the kills are concerned, but the fact that Golden Guardians is now at soul point is incredibly concerning for TSM.
All right, as you mentioned, it is indeed the Dragon for Golden Guardian, so that is Ocean Soul point for this side. 24 minutes in, the first Baron is going to be started up by TSM, and Golden Guardian's not here right now, but Closer's close enough that I think he's sniffing out that a Baron take is being attempted. TSM are just going to pull away. No need to overcommit to that objective at this critical point in the game.
Exactly. They were kind of just saying, hey, is there any opportunity to grab this? Can we get something here for free? Obviously, when it gets spotted, you should back it up. You can see Merc treads across the board here for TSM, as there is some very good hard CC here with the Ash Arrow and the Morgana Binding. Those are obviously things that are going to force out those Merc treads pretty heavily. 4 of them have already been built up. Mikhail's is now there for treats. That is actually a really big buy, because that is going to keep some of these other members safe who do not have the QSS. And, honestly, Spica might potentially need a QSS, because if Haunter is just going to run straight at him and actually, Mord ult him for those dragon fights, then he can't get out of that without a QSS. You can't Mikhail someone out of the Mord ulti or anything like that. They are looking for a pick now, though, but that is the Mord ulti used onto Spica, so Broken Blade cannot see him. And the rest of Golden Guardians is coming in here. It will have to be their treat, so it is just the trade of ultimates there. But I would say that goes in the favor of Golden Guardians, as that Mord ultimate traded out for the time of 2 people, and he does stay safe.
That is a really interesting interaction. I think Team Liquid were playing Shen into Mord a couple of weeks ago, and I was wondering how that worked out. So at least we have one answer to the mad science question of what happens if Shen's trying to ride in on someone in the Shadow Realm. The answer is you cannot enter the Shadow Realm. It is a 1v1 only versus Mordekaiser, but nice use of Haunter's ulti there to keep himself safe. And as you said, it's kind of a trade of cooldowns for the time of 2 players. So I would say, kind of a wash at the end of it all. Team's really just setting up for these next objectives.
Exactly, and Broken Blade, because he has a couple stacks of that Ultimate Hunter, he should be up to 3 stacks now. The cooldown isn't as bad as it would otherwise be, so that trade is looking more even as far as those cooldowns are concerned. Double lift now on 2 items. He did go for the double BF sword build that Freak loves. He's a big advocate of this. It is a higher DPS build. If you are getting consistent auto attacks off in a team fight, if you're hitting frontline, as Double lift is expecting himself to have to do here. But they're looking again. They actually TP in here. Can they actually catch him, though? Huhi's almost here.
Oh, gets the Black Shield down. The arrow actually hits onto the Shen. The grab, though, is going to find Hui, but the rest of the Golden Guardians are here. Haunts are going to pull one in, but TSM still trying to chase. Good satchel there from Demonte to disengage the fight. 35 seconds till this Ocean Dragon is up. Nobody wants to take a casualty when they're setting up for this very important objective.
TSM looking a little bit desperate on that engage. It feels like they really are saying, hey, we need a pick right now. We must pick someone to actually win this next dragon fight. They couldn't get it, and now in goes Closer.
That taunt was so good, but the Black Shield's good as well. Closer with a Haymaker is going to go down
there's
low.
your pick.
And Broken Blade punishes Closer for trying to find the engage.
Yeah, Closer kind of just gifted it to him, though. Just hops over way too far ahead of the team. That is going to mean guaranteed dragon here on what could have potentially been Soul for Golden Guardian. So that is so big for them. You can also see that Spica did pick up the QSS that I was talking about. They recognize how threatening the Mordekaiser ultimate is when one Mordekaiser ultimate could deny that one steal that gets your opponent's soul. And when it's Ocean Soul on the table, that can just straight up be GG. So they are willing to spend the money to actually have that. It's obviously going to be useful for his playmaking too if you get Ash Arrowed, if you get bound up. But the answers are really starting to stack up now. When we talked about Golden Guardians, you know, they're so reliant upon the engage from the Ash Arrow, from the Morgana Binding. Mordekaiser ult, obviously, you know, kind of answered by that same QSS. There's 4 Merc Treads, there's a Mikhail's, there's a Banshee's Veil on Azir, there's a QSS on Spica, there's a Cleanse on Double Lift. There are really a lot of answers starting to stack up for the very few forms of engage that Golden Guardians have, and I think that does become concerning for them because it allows TSM to have more of an ability to pick and choose where you are fighting.
Yeah, I mean, Hornsey's getting some traction in the side lanes, but he's never going to bully Broken Blade enough, I think, to do much other than maybe poke down the tower and be a nuisance. At least TSM, it's only their second dragon. Golden Guardians will have another shot at the Soul in 4 minutes when that one spawns around, but we're starting to have to worry about Baron now for either side. The map is getting a little bit constricted for Golden Guardians as TSM are just playing their side lanes and using their turret advantage to have all this space to play with. So definitely a misstep from Closer around that Dragon Pit, but one good settle is going to forgive all those sins. Is who he looks for. The Binding Arrow also looking for it, but doesn't grab it as Treats doesn't find the connect on the hook either. But hello, Speaker. Sanji,
here they go!
Keep Demonte back in. There's the set ulti to get him out there, but Demonte, he's just going to get crushed by Double Lift as the ace in the hole is going to land. He's not dead just yet. In fact, the counter kill comes as Speaker's able to get it, and now Haunts are 1v1ing Double Lift. He's in the death realm. He's got no friends to save him from the Mord, and now Haunts are going to flash out to safety. Bjergsen eats a binding there for who he taunt by Broken Blade. Might be a miss if those FBI flashes in, gets the shutdown, gets the next kill. It's a double for FBI as Broken Blade is able to find the shutdown, but Golden Guardians will find the ace.
They couldn't quite kill off Demonte immediately, and he got a lot of damage out before he went down. Then Haunter finding the ultimate over onto Caitlyn, knocking down Double Lift. Bjergsen got bound up out of that, and when those 2 carries go down, that is all of your damage there. TSM get out team fought despite what looked to be a great engage there onto Golden Guardians. They're going to lose the Baron off of this, and this could be Golden Guardians' way straight back into the game.
Yeah, this is basically going to even up the goal as the Baron falls down. We'll see it tick over. And they make sure to wait to give it to Ziggs as well. I do like that choice. I guess FBI is going to miss out, unfortunately, being in the Death Chamber still. But now 500 gold between these two will hook up the Honda performance play.
All right, let's watch this one more time. So this was actually a great attempt here from TSM. The flank from Spica looks like it's going to work out wonderfully well. Multi-man kick there, but they couldn't actually find the follow-up damage onto Demonte. I think they just thought he was going to die here immediately, but he got that Ziggs ult out. He gets a kill. He got some damage down on Broken Blade too, and then Double Lift, no QSS on him, no way out of that Mordekaiser ultimate, and they can't actually burst down Haunter. And then look at this binding. The Mikhail's a little bit slow from Treats. That binding have mostly expired. Bjergsen got very, very low, and FBI just sees, this is my chance. He flashes in on top of Bjergsen, takes him down, and with Bjergsen falling, there was no damage left for TSM. So they lose the Baron here. They are on the back foot after what feels like 30 minutes of pretty strong control. And remember, Ziggs is going to destroy these towers if he gets even close to them. He has the Baron buff. He has the death cap. So one auto pretty much, and this is gone, and Bjergsen's got to back it up. They're pushing down in bottom side with Broken Blade, but he needs to get back to base. They're out of position. They're just going to lose this tower in mid lane potentially.
Also hooked up, but he's just going to put somebody in the shadow room with him. It's Treats! Oh no! The Thresh can't get out himself, and now Haunter has stolen all his stats. The mid lane's been busted open. Haunter still there as Demonte's going to ride the ulti, and Double Lift goes down as well. Speaker, he's going to be the next on the menu. Golden Guardians, they've just ripped open this mid game.
I think it actually end with the next wave here with 3 people dead and Ziggs. You could like 2-hit these towers. I think this is over.
I mean, they're certainly going for it. Why not? 5v3, Ziggs ready. I mean, come on, Tids, give me an order. Just one. He hasn't even done it yet. Come on, mate. Get the passive going. Bjergsen bound up again. Does pop the ulti, but there's one Nexus tower down. Golden Guardians going to pick up game number 1 here to kick off their playoffs run. What a way to kick off the summer playoffs, Azael.